WCSN. I'm Layla.
And I'm Ethan. Let's go check out what's going on around the school.
Our radio TV class has been under the radar for the past few weeks, leaving many students wondering what we've been up to. Well, I'm Chris, and I'm here to give you guys an update. Lately, we've received podcast training from Brian at Summit City Studios, so we could provide podcast opportunities to our schools. We're also very grateful to be provided with new equipment in our class to give you guys the best of our news. Speaking of news, we're also incorporating breaking news into our news segments. Now, let's send this over to Emma for another update.
Hey Tigers, this is your construction weekly update. So you may be wondering, why am I wearing a hard hat? Well, that's because I'm in the library. Well, what's left of it. Construction has been very prominent in the last couple of weeks at WCHS. Many things have changed. For instance, the library is now in the black box by the theater department. Classes have changed and routes to those classes have changed. Many of these construction workers are working mainly on the school entrance that should be done by August. Thank you so much, Tigers. That's your weekly construction update.
Welcome back, fellow Tigers. We hope that you guys enjoyed sitting back and relaxing during your fall break. We also hope with the new quarter coming up, that students that have struggled with the previous quarter are able to turn over a new leaf this quarter. Reporting for WCSN, I'm Ethan Fussell.
Let's check in with Chase and Aiden for our sports.
Last week I spoke to the boys cross country team about what it takes to prepare for a big meet like semi-state.
We prepare as a team for it, so we've all been running together in practices. We also do a lot of mental preparation for it because it's hard to go out there and race at your best. So we visualize what's going to happen and then we just prepare for it.
Over the weekend, the boys finished 5th and the girls finished 3rd. Both teams will be advancing to the IHSAA state finals.
Your Warsaw Tiger volleyball team took on LaPorte this Saturday in the first round of regionals. They won in just 3 sets, sending them to the regional championship. They then took on Lake Central and had a tough loss, which wrapped up their season. Earlier this week, I talked to some of the girls to see how practice looks different in the postseason.
Postseason is definitely really different for practices. Regular season, we have a game pretty much 2 times a week, so the practices are a little bit lighter. And then as we get to the postseason, it's longer weeks of practices before the game time.
Practices change on the level of intensity. We go really hard for the first half of the week, and then once you get closer to Saturday, you kind of tone it down and you focus more on what each team that you're going to play is doing individually.
That's it for sports. Let's check out this special feature.
So I think for the kids, you see them kind of goofing around and they're just excited to not have to be in class, and then they come over here and they get started, they're like, I'm not really sure, and they're kind of goofing off, and then eventually they're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm actually packing food for someone to eat. And by the time they're done and they go back over there and they hear about the good that they did, their mindset and their shift is unbelievable. And I know a lot of the teachers who are on the steering committee say when they come back for weeks afterwards, their attitudes change. They're a lot more grateful, a lot more thankful for what they do have. And just, they are a little more mindful about, hey, I do maybe have it a little better than most of my counterparts around the world. And so it just changes their attitude.
The kids come in and pack. They're so excited. They don't usually at that age get a chance for a mission trip, and this is a really good way for them to get a feel for that. And the money that they raised, I think Lakeview raised $15,000 and outpaced a lot of our corporate donors. They really brought it.
I love the idea of our community having an opportunity to serve a mission organization without having to leave home, and gives everyone an opportunity to have empathy and have compassion for others. And they start out and they're kind of like picking at each other at first, they're kind of doing their thing. After they get into it and they really understand what they're trying to do, they get a little competitive and they get a little bit, excited about what they're doing. And I think it changes their heart. And that's, I think, the most important thing. And now I can have an impact on their life.
I love watching that story. Now let's hear from you on today's question of the day.
I'm Sarah, and we're back with your question of the day. And today's question is, what's your favorite fall activity?
Marching band.
Going to the pumpkin patches.
Watching football.
Pumpkin carving. I don't know. I like carving pumpkins.
Baseball. Fall baseball.
Probably going to a pumpkin patch.
Jumping in leaves. Okay, going to pumpkin patch. Haunted houses. Carving pumpkins.
Probably carving pumpkins. What sense?
My favorite fall activity is going to haunted houses.
Carving pumpkins.
Probably corn mazes and bonfires.
Carving pumpkins.
Hayride.
Bunching leaves together and jumping in them. I love doing that.
Got to be football. I love football on Friday nights, watching the Tigers.
All right, that's it for today's question of the day. I'm Sarah, signing off.
That's all the news we have for you today.
We'll see you next time.